Hey there, Suki. So let's take a look at this new set of essays you've sent us. Okay. Traditional foods are being replaced by fast food. Let's see what you had to say about this. It is true that the rise of fast food globally has replaced traditional foods in many cultures. Despite, get rid of, after despite we don't use of. So despite some tangible benefits that fast food can bring, I believe that it is harmful to families, individuals, and society, whether for the short, well, it's whether in the short run or long run. Okay, that's fine. Um, let's see. Nowadays, reliance on fast food is increasing because of the fast-paced lifestyle. As its name suggested, fast food, you just use present tense here. It sounds much more natural. So as its name suggests, fast food can save time, which makes it, not makes it as necessary, but look, which makes it necessary for working people and working class families, IES, who do not have the luxury of preparing a nutritious meal. It is also cheap to buy, and people can feel fulfilled with enough meat at an affordable price. At the same time, the fast food industry creates a large number of employment opportunities for society. It is a safe transitional job for students or struggling individuals. Okay, so what are you telling us here? That it's good for people who work, it's good for families, it's good for the society because it creates jobs. Good points. All of them are very good points. Let's see. So tangible benefits, good. This is great. Even now that I'm reading this, your thesis sentence is excellent because it's like you've basically told us that I'm going to talk to you about some of the positives, but on the whole it's negative. So far I think you're doing a great job with this. Let's see what you wrote below. However, the negative impact of fast foods is greater. For individuals, people have more risk of getting health problems such as obesity, diabetes, and heart diseases because they take too much salt, sugar, and fat from fast food. Research has shown that children in developed countries are increasingly overweight since they have grown up on a diet of convenience food. Furthermore, families may have weak family bonds as they spend less time together preparing meals and communicating with each other. Finally, people would gradually lose their identity if they have fast food so frequently instead of having traditional foods which represent their cultures, and this can lead to the loss of cultural diversities for society. All right, this is nice. I kind of, you know what, I'm kind of on the fence about this because you covered all of the aspects you were supposed to cover, individuals, families, and society, and I thought you did a great job. Let me see. Let me just look at it one more time really quickly. So, increasingly overweight because of fast food. Weak family bonds, less time communicating over food. Loss of identity because we're losing our traditional cuisine. All right, no, it's fine. It did feel a little bit like rapid fire, like it was just one thing right after another. But because you had a lot of things to talk about, I don't really think there was another way to do this. So I thought the way you developed this was really, really good. Okay, so let's move on. In conclusion, despite the benefits related to the fast food industry, the health and cultural drawbacks, culture AL, drawbacks it brings should be seriously considered. All right, that's rather short. It's okay though. It's fine. I thought this was a great essay. You did everything you were supposed to do. You covered all the parts. You discussed them. You developed them. It's a good essay. They're just little grammatical things every now and then that I pointed out already. But I thought this was really nicely done, actually. Let me see one little thing. Your word count was good. I know you were considerably over 250 words, but I do just want to see precisely how much. Yeah, 270. So it was okay. Let me see one other thing. Your conclusion was, really brief. You could have done something else here, maybe an extra sentence. But again, I'm really quite satisfied with this. I just want you to be careful with some of those grammatical issues. Now I want to take a look at your task 1, okay? So let's do that now. All right, so here we have the shoe sales. Let's see what you wrote. The bar chart compares sales figures of black leather shoes and brown leather shoes in 9 European countries in 2018 in units of thousands. It is noticeable that overall, brown leather shoes were more popular than black leather shoes in that year. They were? All right, we'll talk about that in a minute. Hungarians with an S here bought the most black leather shoes, while Germany saw the highest sale in brown leather shoes. Germany? No, it didn't. Look, brown leather shoes is Poland. Okay, so careful with that. It's inaccuracy. So imagine if I didn't have this chart in front of me, I would be led to believe that Germany had the highest sales when it didn't. It was here on par with Hungary, whereas Poland had the most. So careful with your accuracy. In Italy, Hungary, Belgium, and the UK, more people bought black leather shoes than brown leather shoes in 2018. So let's see what you're saying. In Italy, where's Italy? All right. In Italy, Hungary, Belgium, and the UK. Okay, fine. More people in brown leather shoes. Fine. Hungary had the highest sales at around 140. Careful. You need to write the 3 zeros out, which was slightly higher than the figure for Italy, 130. The sales for Belgium and the UK were around 100, but Belgium saw the biggest gap in sales between the two types of shoes, which is almost 100. What does that mean? Which was almost 100? The gap or their shoe sales of black shoes? So that's a little unclear. Make sure it's clear. Brown leather shoes had better sales than the rest of the 5 countries in the same year. Poland bought the most at approximately 130,000, which was the figure, which was marginally higher than that in Germany. Irish people bought 100,000 in that year, while the figures in Holland and Holland and France were only about 70. Belgians, with an S, bought the least brown leather shoes in that year at only about 10,000 again. Okay, let's see. I just want to make sure that you mentioned all the countries. I think you did, but I do want to make sure that you at least mention them once by name. It looks like you did. Okay, fine. I thought you did a decent job of this. It was a good job. I'd have to say it's better than a lot of other task ones that I get on this topic. You basically decided to talk about where black leather was higher than brown leather in one paragraph, and then where brown leather was higher than black leather in the other paragraph. I think that's fine. I think that, you can do it like that, and there's no real problem there. I was a little concerned with the fact that you kept talking about this. Yeah, you told me that it's in thousands, but I still feel like it's really much more clear if you just add those 3 little zeros. It's not going to spend a lot of time really to do that, so make sure you do. There was some inaccuracy, and that was concerning because I want you to remember that you have to describe this in such a way that a person can read it and not have to look at the chart. Okay? If that happened in this particular instance, then you gave somebody the wrong piece of information. So really, really, really be careful about that. Let me just look at a couple of other details here for a second. So one thing that was missing for me, and it's a detail, but because a lot of this was done really well, we're left with really analyzing some details in order to get you to an even higher level than you are. So one thing for me that was missing is really emphasizing those highs and those lows. So for example, when you talked about Hungary had the highest sales at around 140, which was slightly higher than the figure for Italy, I really want to hear that this was the highest figure in the entire chart. The same thing applies for Belgium with that low. You said, okay, really emphasize it because these are the really important parts in this chart here. Okay. I would have even gone so far as to say that something like that really belongs in the overview. Okay, so you said that brown were more popular than black leather shoes. I think you came up with that opinion because you saw that it was more than 100,000 in 4 countries, whereas black was more popular in 1, 2, 3. Basically, I look at this. I look at where they're over 100. So 4 countries had over 100,000. Black had 4 countries also over 100,000, but I guess this was a little higher. I would argue with you whether or not it actually, brown was more popular or not, but that doesn't really matter. Okay. So that's what was missing for me. This emphasis on those really highs, really just kind of making those important pieces stand out. Like this whole thing about Belgium, this thing about hungry with the highest figure. You didn't really emphasize those, and I think they needed to be emphasized. So that's just one little thing. I think those highs and those lows really just kind of get lost in the description. That shouldn't happen. So you've done a really good job here. We're just, like I said, looking at some details to make this really an exceptional piece of writing. So go ahead, correct these, return them back to us corrected, and let's see more good work from you. All right, good luck.